Hi, we are Maximals and we are here in our new home, X Studios.
Today we're gonna show you how we made our track My Best with Nino Lucarelli that is out now on Protocol Recordings. So let's have a look. So here's the project of My Best, our track out on Protocol Recordings. Thank you so far for the support. As you can see, the project is a bit messy because we used to do extended and radio in the same project. And it's a quite easy thing to change something in both projects. For example, if you need to change this, you can find it here, so you don't have to copy and paste too much time and do another project and so on. The first thing you can notice from the project that is divided in groups. We have kicks, vocals for the drop, another vocals group, FX, drums, leads. This is out of the leads, but it is a lead, as you can see from the color. Bass group and another mid bass that we added here. Let's start from the beginning. The track took the shape from here, from this contact layer that is it's a string that we came up with this melody it was April, I think. Yeah. The track we began the track in April, and we came up with this simple melody, and we used this VST called Contact, that is one of the best, and section 1 and 2 ensemble performance for the string. Then we switched up to layer things because we love to layer things to make the track the fattest as possible. And we layered it with this organ that is from the Contact. It's called Mousse, because it reminds some of Mousse T's old track, and it's like this. Combined with the previous string, it's going like this. As you can listen, it's starting to take shape. Then we added a sub bass for the progression. It's going up with the cutoff, and it is simple sine wave from silent. As you can see, it's pretty simple. Then the thing that makes the difference in this breakdown is this FX here from Vengeance. We cut it and pitched down of 12 right here, and then the original is right here, and it's going like this. Now the progression is starting to be interesting. We added the ping pong delay to add that feeling that it's going like an echo, and a little bit of reverb with Valhalla Rune, that is one of my favorite actually, especially because it makes the things going stereo, and you can really see the difference between generic reverb and Valhalla Room. Then we dive into the main part of the break, the part with the pianos, but actually the pianos were the last thing we added because we couldn't find the right shape for the pianos, so we decided to use two piano layers, one for the mid part and one for the high part. The one for the mid part, I think it is and then switch it from the high. Combined together, they gave us this result. as you can listen the feelings that they are giving together instead of only one, because the track needs to be powerful in the break, especially after Fall in Line. We tried to preserve the same feelings. Then we added a voice chorus that is made with M1, one of our favorite plugins to do everything, because you can do literally everything with this, and it's going like this. Same melody from the strings and the organ. The organ is not here, is not in the main break part, because we need a space, we need a room for the pianos. So the break with all the instruments, including this super bass, did with contact with the bank Scarby Rickenbacker bass. That is really, really cool. Then process it into an audio, because we started this project in our old PC, our old MacBook Pro, but the RAM was not so big, so we needed to resample the MIDI files to audio in order to gain room for the RAM, for the memory. And then is going like this. Okay, just selecting the solo. As you can see, there is something orchestral in this break that we immediately love. And of course we wanted to have a vocal, but the vocal came after, so we're going step by step. The vocal will be one of the latest parts we will show you. Then we dive directly into the build up and then into the drop. Actually, we were not so focused on the drop until we completely finished the breakdown, because we needed a different drop compared to Fall in Line, but we didn't know where to focus on. We started listening to future house tracks and so on, and we put it all together, some ideas that listening to the tracks gave us. And we came up with this bass line that is almost the same process of Fall in Line. We have 2/3 different basses. I will show you why we have only this one that is so little. We have a sub bass right here that is a simple sine wave from Silent. And what really makes the difference is the R bass mono, that is a saturator where you can set your frequency, and you can boost all the frequencies around this. For example, this track is in, I don't remember the key actually, I have to check, is in F sharp, so this is the frequency that is matching to F sharp, and you have to boost only using this intensity, that is boosting your decibels on this. In fact, if you can hear the difference, this is with the R bass, this is without the R bass. It's weak compared to the R bass version. Then a little bit of saturation and a mono, of course, because our sub bass is going in mono, and we added this layer here that is the same notes, the same MIDI going up right here, but 1 octave up, just because we needed to feel the spectrum of the track. And if you play only the sub bass part here, you can see from this spectrum that is going too low. So we needed to add 1 octave up to make enough room in the spectrum, and to make it sound better. Then we added this mid bass that is out of the group. I don't remember why, but I will not touch it. This is a mid bass made also with silent, but a little bit more distorted with Camel Crusher, with this setting. It's more beef, as you can see in the presets right here, and a little bit touched. I don't remember where exactly. You just have to try sometime. Like Chocolate Puma said, producing is a matter of touching something you don't know, but it works. So we did it like this for this sub bass, for this mid bass here, and it's sounding like this. And it's filling all the low mid part of the spectrum. Remember to check the spectrum because sometimes your ears are tired and you can hear something that is not really here. But the spectrum always makes you see the difference when you're working on something. It's really helpful. We use it a lot. As you can see, it's filling all the spectrum around here, and it's very useful because sometimes you're just too tired to hear properly. Into the drop we added this sound that is typically future house, a future house sound like Matt Nash tracks or Don Diablo's tracks, Zonderling tracks. That it's a simple silent. Some people we know, they made it with a VST called Diva, but we like to make it simple. So we like to recreate the sounds with the VST that we already know. Then we also tried Diva, but it doesn't fit like it actually fits, and it's sounding. This is the build-up part. And it's the main sound of the drop, because the drop doesn't have a main sound. This is what makes the difference in my opinion. Combined with the bass, as you can see, the groove is really cool. It's starting to take shape. For the kick, of course, one of the most important part of the track, we use the Vengeance kick from Vengeance Electro Essential that we processed it with a classic kick compression and then put it into monos signal so it doesn't clash with other frequencies. In fact, as you can see, thanks to the sidechain, the sub bass doesn't completely clash with the kick. For the sidechain, we use the Kickstart. Sometimes we use the compression of Ableton. There are many ways to do a sidechain, like volume shaper, that sometimes you just need to erase a little bit of space, and volume shaper gives you the opportunity to design your curves, and it's really useful. But at this time, Kickstart was the better option. Then let's move forward with the main part, the part I like the most. That is the construction of the groove. It starts with the drums. So we started playing with some loops, some drums we found on the internet, on the pack we have, and we started with these hats that were also in falling line. So we just dragged it into the project, and they sound like this. It's very smooth, but they will make the difference, as you can hear. Let's hear all the drums together so you have an idea of the groove. It's a classic groove, but as you can see, there are some elements that we love to add, like this FX loop. That it's very smooth, but it fills up all this stuff. And then we went for a shaker, for a wood block. Wood block are really useful right now. A lot of DJs are using wood blocks to create the grooves. For example, in the latest track of Axwell and Ingrosso, Dancing Alone, there is this kind of wood block going all into the drop that is making the difference. Then we had a conga, hats, the previous hats from Fall in Line, claps, then shakers. We did work with AutoPen to make them more stereophonics. They are going. Then we added this clap that we are using a lot, and it's a clap equalized on mid side. We are boosting the mid-high part of the clap, so it's going more stereophonic, and it's sounding, as you can see. It doesn't match completely the structure of the track, but it's a little bit of tempo, but we liked it, so it sounds like this. And it perfectly matches with the vocals from Nino Lucarelli, the loop vocals that we used on the drop. This is mainly what we used for the groove of the track. That is the important part of the track, because as you can see with the bass, perfectly matches it. You have to create a sort of bouncy moment on the track, so you have to focus on the drums, the percussions, because they are really important in modern electronic music. What brings the hit to a track are the percussions, so treat them really well. And as you can listen all together, the kick, the drums and the bass, you have the feeling of a bouncy track. It's really groovy, it's really on point. Then, as you can see, we added this synth that we showed you before. And now the track is almost done. You need to fill up with FX, that we are using a lot of effects. They are really important. Some people told that you have to use 2-3 same effects during all the track, but it's not like this. It's a way more difficult, because you need to fill the spaces, you need to make the transition working, and it's not a thing that you do in a minute. You have to take your time. Remember, you have to take your time to do the tracks. You have to take your time to look at what's working and what's not working. And the FX probably is the part we spend a lot of time, because I like to be incredibly precise on this. Then with the FX, the drop is completely done, and as you can see, we have the build-ups here and the drop starts here. There is a little bit of white noise going up for the drop. And then we build the drop before building the build-ups. because if you feel the drop, then the build-ups will come naturally. For the build-ups, we used almost the same instruments here, plus a snare from a Kashmir pack that is pretty trappy, but it worked on it with a little bit of compression. But the main tricks that we used on the build-ups is this amazing plugin that is called Endless Smile from Dada Life. That it makes our life easier a lot, because we used to do these effects with a combined automation from a filter, then a reverb, then a volume going all together, and it was a little bit messy because we had too much automation right here. Sometimes we changed what we didn't have to change and it completely goes. And then this plugin came into our life and it's a way better. As you can see, we used in all the build-ups to build the atmosphere and diving into the drop without no basses, without too much volume. As you can see, the snare is going up like this. If you see the spectrum is going right. So when the drops came in, you have all the power of the feelings of the drop, the vibes, going straight to your face. And this is most likely the reason we work in groups. Also because you can find easily the things that you're looking for, but mainly is for this, because we used the Endless Smile even on the leads and even on the vocal groups, and in this kick I don't know, because now we use only a filter, but mainly we are using for all the stuff. Talking about the vocal came after 2 months. We started the track, we sent a demo to Nino Lucarelli, that was the singer of Fall in Line 2, and he immediately feels the track. He said, okay, let me work, I have something for you. And in 2 days he came up with these stems right here.
Let's wind the clocks back, drinking by the sunset. I wanna feel it again. Let's take it off.
Then another part here. Actually, we've done this because there was no vocoding, so we used the same MIDI from the bassline to build a vocoder part. Then we have the stereo part, we have the pitch shifted part, one down and one up. Actually, there's not a lot of work to do in these vocals because Nino is a great worker, he knows what to do, and he sent us the vocals that were sounding amazing. Even if we just added a CLA vocal on the lead vocal, just to add a little bit of sub-bass part, but mainly the vocals were perfect. They were matching the track, no needed to reverb, no needed to compression. It was amazing to work again with him because he really knows what to do with the vocals. Mainly we used the CLA vocals when we received not processed vocals to do this work here. So we do a little bit of compression of stereo imaging, then a little bit of treble work to give you this information on the vocal that sometimes you miss. There is the Iger's part of the vocal. Sometimes they doesn't work really good. Then the vocal speaks for itself, because if you listen on,
What can I say when it's just not the same?
if you listen on the group, it's sounding perfect, all matched all together.
I'm trying my best What can I do when I'm so far from you? I'm caught in this mess.
So we had this result with the pianos and so on.
What can I say when it's just not the same? I'm stuck in my head, I'm trying my best. What can I do when I'm so far from you? I'm caught in this mess, but I'm trying my best.
I'm really feeling this vocal. Is one of the best I've worked on. And then we tried to do some chops into the vocals. I remember we tried like 3-4 different versions. Then we came up with this melody that is mainly this part. There are all Dino's cutted voice part. This is the main one. Going to the build-up, this is the drop. As you can see, we just went to the lead vocals. We took the lead vocals and we put it on the, you know, the part here, and we just played with it, and then finally we came up with a good melody that is changing every quarter, you know. That's the cool part of the cool trick we made. The melody is changing every quarter, so it's a little bit different. It's not annoying. Then we layered it with another parts because we needed to fill the spectrum with the high parts. So we transposed the same into plus 12. And then 2 different layers for the stereo imaging because we needed to be a little bit wider. As you can see, if you miss just one thing, like the highest part of the vocal, it doesn't sound. Sounding flat. That's why we needed too much layers sometimes. Remember to try to layer things because it's a very cool part of the song, because you see the song taking shape, and so you are really satisfied with the work if you do some tricks, some layering over there. And it's really cool to have more layers because you can do some experiments with the sound, and sometimes you find sound that you didn't know you have in your library, so it's really useful. That's what we did with this track. That it's, I think, one of the best we worked on, because we really felt this track. We really felt that the moment we started, and I'm really proud to have worked with Nino again, because it's a really amazing singer, and it gave us the right feelings we were looking for the track. Then for the final part of the track, we're taking care about the mastering. We're taking care about the mastering because it's a tough part sometimes to achieve, but in my opinion it's not so important as the mix is, because if you do the right mix you will not have problems with mastering. Then, as you can see, we have just 4 plugins here. They are switched off now because otherwise the project will crash down. But I can show you how we're working. So we use the Fab Filter Pro Q2, that is one of the best EQ out there, just to take down all the frequencies we don't need. So for example, if we see on the drop, sometimes we hear some frequencies that we don't want to hear anymore. For example, here. This frequency, it's kind of annoying. as you can listen, is not so enjoyable. So we just cut it down for 2.5 more or less. Then this frequency too, because it's not the key of the track. So sometimes they are going too up, and as you can see, the spectrum now is really good. There is no such a peak. Then we like to play with the image or the stereo imaging. We use the Zone 7 stereo imager because it's one of the simple and it's doing its work, you know. You don't need anything complicated. Of course, we have to try the UAD plugins that everyone talked about, the UAD plugins, but we didn't try. So we didn't try for the moment, but we will do in our future tracks. Here we just, as you can see, put it down in mono, all under 150 Hertz. Then we played a little bit with this part because it's the part that the main groove it's focused into, and we just make it more stereo to make it more danceable. As you can listen, if I go completely up with this, so it needed just a little bit of spicy right here. The same for the mid-high part. It's really cool because you can choose the frequency you want to boost, choose the range of the frequency, and it's really cool. Then we stepped into the SSL compressor stereo. That is one plugins of the Waves family. We just added this kind of preset right here that is called mastering, of course. Then we played a little bit with attack and with makeup, so we did like 3.6 decibels up. Then it's starting sounding like a professional track. The last thing we use for the mastering is the maximizer, also from Ozone 7. That is what gives the main volume of the track. You have to bring out the volume until you want. This is very useful to all the tracks, to all the master tracks. I have like a maximizer. It doesn't matter if it's Waves, if it's UAD, or if it's Ozone. It has the same goal. So you have to reach a reasonable loudness of your track. We compare the loudness with this instrument here, that is the BX Meter, and it's from Brainworks family. It's really useful. For example, with the master we are sure that the RMS frequencies doesn't go up from -4 to -5. This is the perfect range for your peaks, for the RMS peaks. As I said before, the mastering is the last part we are taking care of, but if you follow the right path for the mix, you will not have problems with master. So don't focus to have a perfect master or finding a perfect plugin for it. Just focus on the mix, and then the master will come easily along. And that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial and we hope you learned something from this.
Don't forget to follow us on our socials, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram to keep you posted on our news. Ciao! Ciao!